And that is what I wanted to talk to you about right now. So please God, if you could see to it that you could do what you can for this woman, bless her heart and bless her soul. Okay, amen. Okay, so I got that out of the way. I'm not good at that stuff. I've been going to a local church, one that just kind of sprang up in my community. It's actually for it's to try to heal the community itself, which I think is fantastic. The community itself, where this little church has sprung up, is I mean, it used to be a lot more dilapidated than it is. It's an area where there's a lot of low income housing and a lot of immigration in that area, and it is my neighborhood. I live in probably one of the cheapest homes in my entire city that you could buy, and that's just the way it was. We were trying to raise a family, and we had a lot of debt going in when we first decided to have a family, me and my wife, and so we did what we could, thinking that eventually we'd be able to upgrade. And over the last few years, something has happened in the world, hasn't it? Something that just most people, they don't see it, and it's why they don't see it. It's how what is keeping these people from seeing what's happening in the world around all around them that has just kept me searching and searching and searching. And so I go to a lot of different sources and I listen to a lot of different people. And I just wrote a note not too long ago, probably like an hour ago, just before I got on the road. And I was finishing up a debate between this guy, Lyron Shapiro, who has a YouTube channel called Dune Debates. Sorry, this is Hamilton and the roads are rough. um, it's called Doom Debates, and it's an excellent channel. I like to go there and watch because you get some of the smartest people currently working in artificial intelligence. There, it's like Kurt, if you're familiar with Kurt Jaimungal's TOE channel, Theory of Everything channel, except Kurt Jaimungal gets really deep into the weeds, whereas this kid Lyron Shapiro, he's very intelligent. I can tell he's very intelligent, and he's in that community, and he's made a space for debating what are the hot topics happening in artificial intelligence, and then he just kind of gives you his opinion, and that's what I wanted to talk to you about. Um, in the post that I put, the note that I put on Substack, I noted that what do we call this place where we find ourselves right now, where we're like meeting at the intersection of cognitive dissonance, so like not being able to hold two ideas together and make them like kind of like synthesize them. It's like you can believe this one thing and you can believe this other thing, but to try to like make them go together, it's too hard. Like it's like but there's a lot of people opening their eyes, and I would suggest that a lot of people are quite comfortable these days with simulation theory. Simulation theory is this idea that we live in a matrix-like world. The Matrix is what really popularized that idea. Elon Musk has helped to popularize the idea. And so the idea is that we live in a world where we're a brain in a vat, or we're not really alive, or we are the byproduct of just computation. And when you really get down to it, that's what evolution says, that you are the byproduct of nothing but advanced computation. Your brain, your everything that you experience, everything that you are, your senses, it is all the byproduct of a evolutionary battle, nature selecting the fittest to adapt to any particular niche that is available for us on planet Earth, and that we are just like the most highly advanced out of all of the creatures on the Earth. But they're all the byproduct, and this is where people I think get really confused. And this is where Lyron, I think he doesn't. It's like he doesn't understand that he's saying he's a computer program. That if you really understand what he's saying, fundamentally, he's saying that he is a computer program. And so he sees no difference between his own mind and math. Do you understand what I'm saying? I know it's a little bit confusing. So he thinks that he's a brain in a vat, but that means that he thinks that so is everybody else. And so what is the byproduct of thinking in that way? If you think everything is math and more or less determined, and he's got a show called Doom Debates, and he's got a very high P Doom. P Doom means like the likelihood that artificial intelligence is going to basically become this. So like if you worship at the altar of intelligence itself, you think that more intelligence means better. And so there's this kind of combination where it's like more intelligence and refined intelligence. And when Lyron is talking about this video that he's critiquing, he's talking about how in our brain we have these nodes, and these nodes carry like interpreters of information, and they're all just kind of like, because this, when people have a very mechanistic view of the world, um, where all is material, and so you have to make sense of all that there is just using those constituent material parts, including atoms and molecules and photons and everything that we see, like all the material bits that we've been able to like study. We say this is a thing, and we know that because we study it using the five senses. It's empirically known, and we can test it. That you can, you have a hypothesis. This is the scientific method. You get a hypothesis that you can test, and you can only really test things using the five senses. This is what makes it empirical. It's an empirical science, and this is how most materialists think, because they don't think that there is a metaphysical dimension to reality. So metaphysical would be something that we can't see, something that you can't measure, something that you can feel, you can intuit, but you can't actually grab it. Do you know what I'm saying? I think I realized I have to turn around here. And okay, so I know I get off on these tangents. I'm so sorry, but I'm just trying to explain the note. So we're at this place where cognitive dissonance, this inability to reconcile two different ideas in your head, but you can have these ideas and you could go, oh, this makes sense because this, and this makes sense because this. But if you try to put them together, right, it doesn't work. And how do you put things together like that? A God is one way. That's one way. A creator. But see, Lyron doesn't believe in a creator. Lyron believes that reality created itself. So he doesn't seem to have a problem with the idea that there might be, like, this is all just it's going to happen because it's going to happen because it's going to happen because it's already happened. So he worships intelligence. He worships this thing he can neither define nor interpret, and he's totally fine with that because he doesn't see the danger there. And that's where a lot of artificial intelligence people, they do see the danger, and they see that there's something else going. There's some metaphysical element to this. And so Lyron is critiquing this guy that's talking openly about his metaphysical belief system that he believes exists in the code, somehow in the code, in the ether, in the quarks, like, call it whatever you want. There's this information pattern that is emergent, and this is what we call emergence, okay? But I was listening to Lyron, and Lyron's fine with complexity, but then he doesn't take emergence and put it together with complexity. And that's what you have to do. So these are two ideas. Complexity is this theory that, like, everything comes out of everything else. It's materialism. Okay? It's the idea, like, where did humanity come from? We don't really know. It's just this giant complex of information that started thinking about itself. We don't know why. Nobody understands the cognitive leap that humanity took that changes, that makes us different from all the other animals that we know in the known universe. What are you doing, bud? Go, go. Um, sorry, it's a little distracting driving in Hamilton too. Can I go this way? I don't want to go this way though. Ooh, this place looks dangerous. What is this place? Hamilton is a crapshoot, I'm telling you. Oh my god, there's porta potties. Just like random porta potties. Whew, the city is something else, man. I just ran a yellow. Sorry. So he's discussing this thing called soft cell. I do apologize. I'm going to post the video underneath this, and I'm going to post this video underneath my note, and I'm going to post the video underneath the note, and I will do a Substack on the entire thing, hopefully today. But like I said, I'm going to the hospital, and I'll be there to support my cousin and uncle, and that's why I'm going there. So I probably won't have a chance to get to this, which is why I wanted to talk to you, I suppose. Because things are heating up. Things are definitely getting interesting out there. And I think that if we're being honest with ourselves, things are progressing on a much faster timescale than I think people are prepared to deal with, cope with. And I know it's difficult. I know that whatever's happening right now, it's very difficult to make sense of anything. We have aliens, and we have these seemingly self-evolving artificial intelligences, and there's people that are telling you that it doesn't know how to think, and there's people that tell you it does know how to think, and there's people telling you that you're living in a simulation, and there's people telling you that you're math, and there's people telling you that you have no soul. There's just a whole lot of people saying a whole lot of crazy shit. And it's difficult to make sense of, especially when it comes to what's happening between Iran and Israel. There's another cognitive dissonance element there too, like between Islam and Judaism and Christianity. But it does seem that when it comes to artificial intelligence research and researchers, they tend towards Hinduism or things. You know what it is? I think they tend towards things that take the responsibility out of their hands. I think that's what it is. I think they like things where you can, the underlying philosophy is, well, nothing really matters, because they know what they're doing is saying that same thing about other people. They are playing fast and loose with other people's souls. And I'm not that's not hyperbole. They're playing fast and loose with your souls, with your rights, with your existential reality. They are. And I don't blame them either, because I'm not the judge, but they do seem to be at a place of extraordinary importance right now. And artificial intelligence, here's a lot of people don't consider it. This is playing out not just in the places that we can see, but it's playing out at the government level, like at the intelligence level. Obviously, if it's about intelligence, the people that work in intelligence are very concerned with this thing. Sorry. Obviously they're all over it. You think that DARPA is not on top of the AI research? I don't come on. And so, whether it's the United States, whether it's Russia, whether it's the European Union, they're all very concerned with this idea of artificial intelligence. Because they need to be. It's an existential threat, not because artificial intelligence itself is a threat, but because humanity is misaligned. We are cross purposes. We are cross purposes from one another. We are misaligned with one another. Look at all the conflicts happening in the world right now. It seems like everyone's going insane. And it's not because there's a misalignment of artificial intelligence. It's because humanity is misaligned with one another. We are having cognitive dissonance. We are not able to agree on things that make sense. And so it's fascinating that we have this intersection of people with cognitive dissonance, not able to make sense of different things that are happening, or at least not able to put them together. And then there's also And this, for whatever reason, I don't understand it, but at the very high end of the intelligence scale out there, people that work in these services, in these branches, the smartest people out there have been kind of weaponized by this cognitive dissonance, this meaning of cognitive dissonance, and what is called the Dunning-Kruger effect. And the Dunning-Kruger effect is where you know a lot about something, but just enough to make you dangerous because you don't know a lot about something else. You don't understand how it intersects with something else. And so cognitive dissonance is like this emergent thing that is meeting this emergent threat of artificial intelligence, doomerism, and these conflicts of human civilizations, and it's all very dizzying. And right now, the people are experiencing Dunning-Kruger, and they are weaponizing themselves against each other because they have this cognitive. They're not able to see that we need this unifying story. We need it. If we don't have it, we are going to weaponize against and attack one another. And it's happening in real time. I mean, you can see it happening in real time. Can't you? Crap. I don't want to go this way. Anyway, so the note was about that, and it's like, so the people with influence and people with money and people with fame, they're all kind of like having like these very confusing conversations right now because they're all very confused about what's happening. But because we don't know enough about looking at the big picture, we're pointing at people and we're going, they're the culprit, they're the bad guy, I know it's them. And a lot of people are getting very suspicious and they're saying a lot of really wacky things, and there's a lot of people that are just completely leave me alone, tuning out, right? A lot of those. That's probably most people. But then there's a certain group of people that are they feel threatened because you are being threatened. We're being threatened financially. We're being threatened physically. We're being threatened with war. We're being threatened with challenges to our worldview. We're being threatened with artificial intelligence, aliens. It's all very, like, it's danger close right now. Everybody is very concerned about what's going on, and they're so concerned about what's going on that most people are just like, they have like confusion fatigue. They're like, and that makes perfect sense. Okay, I'm gonna have to wrap this up. But what was really interesting about this debate between Lyron, and it's not even a debate because Lyron is basically critiquing this other guy. This other guy is telling you his metaphysical worldview, and Lyron, who doesn't have a metaphysical worldview, he has a material worldview, is telling you his. And so they're going at cross purposes. And Lyron, who's a very smart kid, does not understand what this other guy is saying because this other guy is speaking like a wizard. He's speaking like a wizard because he's in the world with Levin. Is it Michael Levin? Sorry, I didn't. I think it's Michael Levin. Yeah, he's the guy that is believes that there is consciousness. So, look, these people believe that there is a consciousness underlying everything, and I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem thinking that there is a kind of consciousness in the world. Obviously, there is. Like, the world is alive and it's interconnected, and there's lots of people that have tried to make sense of that. And the usual thing they use is evolution, but evolution has two sides to it. There is the material side of evolution, and there is the magical side of evolution. There's the things that you can see, touch, taste, feel, and hear. And then there is the things that you can't explain. So you have to come up with some kind of explanation for things for which there are no good explanations. And that's where Michael Levin comes in and their artificial intelligence project. And it sounds like they're growing a brain in a vat. I mean, that's just like what it sounds like. That's what it sounds like. And it's pretty wild. So I don't know. I haven't looked enough into this particular artificial intelligence endeavor yet, but I will be looking into it today. I should have some time to read. Okay, that's it. Crazy enough for you? Well, the world's pretty crazy, isn't it, right now? I should put some clips up. I have been clipping things. You'll see what I mean. Like, there's all kinds of activity on all kinds of fronts, including the disclosure front, right? But there's certainly a rise of a neo-mysticism out there. And for a while, I'd be like, those people are doing it. They're bad. But then I realized, you know what? I can only do what I can do. I can only make choices for me, and I can try to talk to people about it, and I can try to say, hey, listen, we do live on this collective plane, and we will all suffer consequences. So it kind of matters which way we collectively aim, so to speak. And we need to not be super deterministic about it. We need to not worship things that are not worthy of worship. We need to look in the mirror and see who's there and see, who are you in there? Do you have a soul? What is your soul? Is your soul just a byproduct of your material? If I were to cut, and this is the kind of the idea that I think Levin goes by. I don't think he would ever actually argue this, but the argument sort of, you'd have to hear some of the things that he says. But the argument is that if, let's say, I cut off my hand and I came up with some new science to be able to clone the hand, like all of the constituent parts, would I be making another, like, would I be in there? Would I be in that soup? Would it be me? Would I be an individual spirit? Would I still be me? It's that whole teleporter thing. If you knew all of the atoms and molecules and things like that that were exactly in this thing, and you could create a field to take that and plop it over in some other place where Star Trek, would that still be the same person? Does the soul travel with the material, with the physical? And I would argue that people like Michael Levin say that it does, because they don't actually believe in the soul, not from the way that they're explaining it to me. Or they believe in this kind of like soul that exists, that they've already said, and this seems to go by the no, I'm not condemning any of these people. I'm just talking about what's actually, like, this is wild stuff. And they believe it. They worship this intelligence that seems to exist in the ether. And this guy's telling you what he believes, and what's so wild is that Lyron can't understand it. He's like, I don't understand. You have to watch it to understand what I'm saying. And weirdly, I think you have to kind of have at least some kind of grasp the kind of concepts and philosophies and theosophical positions that I'm talking about to understand what I'm talking about. Okay. Man, oh man, what a world. We are right at the meeting place between the metaphysical and the material, and you're an individual soul having an experience. And I'm not sure how much more time we have before somebody tells us something pretty fascinating. And then we're all going to get to choose something like that. I think we're making choices every day. And I try to make better choices every day, but I am just a sinner. And I am so not perfect. And I am so thankful and grateful for existence, and for my kids and my wife, and I see everybody out there as being a individual soul with free will to choose. And I'm just concerned that a lot of us are not prepared for what might be coming next, and I don't even know what that is going to be, but it feels imminent. I don't think we have the kind of time that people are talking about, and I'll put clips up that back up my argument. So, if I tell you what I believe that disclosure already happened, and that disclosure was that we have an intelligent designer, and that intelligent designer that created our everything, the creation that we live in, that we experience, was Jesus Christ. 100%. I think. I mean, you never really know till you know, right? And I don't want to know yet. I want to keep living this life, and I want my kids to grow, and I want everybody's kids to grow and prosper. And we need to have the right kind of environment that we can foster that for everybody. That's what I think. And that means alignment. And the alignment, unfortunately, is not. It's not about whether or not the alignment is in artificial intelligence. That's artificial intelligence, just kind of like telling us something about ourselves. We are. It's entirely possible that our see, if I say there's an intelligent designer, that means that we live in something like a matrix. But I mean, like, we can't possibly make sense of that. This is outside of our territory. A super intelligence would have had to, an ASI, right? A God. But not just any God, the God, Jesus Christ, came and told us that this is our reality. And we actually do have an individual soul, and that soul does not come from the the molecules. And I know it looks convincing like it does, like when we do MRIs and we do all these kinds of things and we do tests on light and we think that we understand how it all works, but the smartest people know we don't. And so the smartest people out there, like Bernardo Kastrup, they're talking about idealism. We're going back to idealism, this idea that everything is in the mind. But is it all just in my mind, or is it all just in your mind, or whose mind is it in? It's in the mind of God. A lot of people are saying it's in the mind of God. God is the mind behind the world. This is actually the prevailing wisdom right now. But that doesn't provide a path for individuation. That doesn't so there has to be something else. There's something else in there that comes to us from somewhere else, and that sounds exactly like a soul to me, as described in the Christian faith. Imago Dei. We are made in the image of the Creator. That part of us, the soul part of us. And then we choose whether or not we worship intelligence. And if you worship intelligence, that has some pretty nasty conclusions. If you worship material, that has some pretty nasty conclusions. If we worship the wrong gods, like basically everything's a nasty conclusion except for the one that freed the slaves. And the tradition, the history of Western liberalism started with Jesus. A lot of people will argue till they're blue in the face. No, no, no. It was from the Enlightenment. You can even take it back to Greece and democracy, mud democracy. No, Jesus was the only one who said, no, no, no. You got to bear your cross. You have to turn the other cheek. Like the Sermon on the Mount, everything about it tells us how we ought to live from what is our reality. Okay, does that make sense to you? I hope so. Okay, gotta go. Love you guys. God bless.